Spencer, I cannot see any other outcome than a breakaway, than a bunch sprint. Numerous reasons. There's heavy favorites in terms of sprinting. The two of them are Merlier and Milan, and especially the battle for green is still very tight between Jonathan Milan and Tadej Pogacar. Tomorrow is a stage where Milan has to score points, both in the intermediate sprint and preferably also in a bunch sprint, where if he finishes first or second or third, he scores very valuable points. Otherwise, I think the green jersey is in danger. So I'm predicting a bunch sprint.
Hi, I'm Spencer Martin, along with Johan Bruyneel, and this is Outcomes. Outcomes is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Nothing in this podcast should be considered financial advice. Please gamble responsibly, and if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, seek help from a professional resource. Hosts and guests may have financial interest in the bets discussed. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Hey everybody, welcome back to Outcomes. I'm Spencer Martin. I'm here with Johan Bruyneel. We are predicting and previewing stage 17 of the Tour de France, a 160-kilometer stage with two categorized climbs. The important thing is there's a sprint point and there's a finishing point. So Jonathan Milan and his little Trek team will be looking to secure the green jersey by holding this thing together. I'll list off the odds, then we'll try to preview and predict who will win and how it will play out. But before I do that, if you want to bet and you don't know how to, don't worry about it, because we have a partner, NextBets. Go to nxtbets.com/betoutcomes. It will show you exactly where to bet wherever you live. It customizes it to wherever you're browsing from, and it shows you the best bets at each site and the sign-up bonuses. So if you want to bet $5 at some sites, you get $150 free dollars to go on top of that. So I highly recommend checking that out if you have not already. And even if you have, there's also new sign-up bonuses available. But Johan, the winner, I'm just reading from Unibet, and we'll call it out when we see better prices, like Tim Merlier plus 130 on Unibet. He's actually plus 175 on Bet365. He's the favorite. Jonathan Milan at plus 250. Wout van Aert plus 1,100. Jordi Meus plus 1,400. Arnaud Delis plus 1,800. Caden Groves plus 2,200. Benyam Girmay plus 2,500. Jonas Abrahamsen plus 3,300. Alberto Dainese, if this was the Giro d'Italia, that's the pick, plus 5,000. It goes on and on. We'll call them out when we need to. But Johan, how do you think this plays out, breakaway or sprint, and who do you think wins?
Spencer, I cannot see any other outcome than a breakaway, than a bunch sprint. Numerous reasons. There's heavy favorites in terms of sprinting. The two of them are Merlier and Milan, and especially the battle for green is still very tight between Jonathan Milan and Tadej Pogacar. Tomorrow is a stage where Milan has to score points, both in the intermediate sprint and preferably also in a bunch sprint, where if he finishes first or second or third, he scores very valuable points. Otherwise, I think the green jersey is in danger. So I'm predicting a bunch sprint. There's too much interest from several teams still to have a bunch sprint, and I'm going to go for my fellow Belgian, Tim Merlier. Plus 130, he's the heavy favorite, but I think that Merlier has the best chances to win the sprint.
Yeah, that I actually like that pick a lot, especially plus 175 at Bet365, down to plus 150 as we're speaking, because Merlier's been chilling. He's been doing nothing while Jonathan Milan's jumping at the beginning of every stage, trying to get in the breakaway. It's not been working out, partly because he's so dang tall, everyone can draft off of him. But, Johan, I'm looking at we have a model that one of our listeners sent over for this green jersey. And if Pogacar wins the two mountain stages, pretty much Merlier has to win tomorrow. Milan has to win tomorrow and be placed fourth or higher in the intermediate sprint to win the green jersey. I think Little Trek's going to hold this together. And I'm going to go, I'm not going to overcomplicate this. Jonathan Milan, he looks a little tired, but he's getting to a stage that he likes. I cannot believe he's such an underdog because he is so fast. I'm going to go Milan plus 250. I think even he's actually plus 300 now on a book that I cannot find, but make sure you check your Milan odds. If you're betting on Milan, it is Bet365, he's plus 300. To get that price from Milan is incredible, and I think his team will have help. They will not have to burn themselves to pull this breakaway back, so he will have a lead out, which is the key thing for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, Spencer, they're all tired, right? And sprinters are special, so I can give Milan some chance. When a sprinter sees the line, I've seen sprinters who are dead who still win the sprint. Milan is different. He's a power sprinter. It's maybe a bit more because we've seen him suffer a little bit the last few stages, but it's out of necessity also. He really needs those points. So I think those are the two heavy favorites, Merlier and Jonathan Milan for the stage.
In theory, he will have like Von Tu is hurting him less than Merlier because he's just a better climber than Merlier. In practice, I don't know if that's actually playing out, but that if you assume that to be true, that's
but the last week of the tour, man, those rules don't work anymore. It's whoever has something left. They're all so tired, and especially, let's not forget, the speeds have been unbelievably high.
Yeah, they have.
It takes a toll, I mean, it just depends who is still, a bit fresh. That's why I say maybe advantage Merlier, because he's not been spending any energy for points or for sprinters points, and he's been focusing on today's stage, on tomorrow's stage.
Yeah, with those speed, like today, it was so fast going into Von Tu. A smart person probably logged on and live bet Valentin Perry-Pantra, just thinking this breakaway might not get caught because Niels Pollitt can't be expected to hold a gap to a group going 32 miles an hour. And this is the lightest man in this group, so he'll probably win. And that person was rewarded probably with quite a bit of money. So congratulations. But if Merlier doesn't win, do you have a wild card pick?
My wild card for tomorrow is going to be Wout van Aert. He's plus 1100. It's true we haven't seen Wout van Aert at the same level like we used to see him in his glory days in the Tour de France, but it's still Wout van Aert. He's ambitious. He's in pretty good form. And in the Van Aert is actually a guy that the thing I just said about the sprinters, it's probably the opposite for Van Aert. He is usually really good in the last week. So I'm going to take him as my wild card, especially because at plus 1100, it's very interesting.
I actually found him at plus 1600 on FanDuel in the US. He looked pretty good today. I mean, we've been talking about how he's not the same Wout van Aert, but he was pulling on that climb after Matteo Jorgensen was dropped. So he's fit. He can sprint. I was tempted to pick this myself, but I'm going against my heart and just picking someone. I feel like this is going to be
your son's heart.
I know. Don't tell. Hopefully, he doesn't listen to this show.
But he's the number one Wout van Aert fan. No, your son.
Oh man, he's probably talking about him right now. He's probably talking about why didn't Ben Healy not win today? No, he calls me and asks like how Wout's doing in the GC. It's like we don't need to talk about that. Let's move on from that conversation. But I imagine tomorrow could be a stage. If there's going to be any stage where you're like, how did that guy win in the sprint? It's tomorrow. I'm going to go, like, remember Jordy Meus won on the Champs-Élysées? That's what I'm expecting. So Caden Groves plus 2,500. He is good when everybody else is tired. And as we just said, everyone's going to be pretty tired. I'm going to go Caden Groves.
Okay.
So let's take a quick break and then we'll do our head-to-heads, which have been keeping us afloat in this fallow period we're in. All right, we're back, Johan. This is on FanDuel in the US. Tadej Pogacar minus 186 versus Jonas Vingegaard plus 134.
Jonas.
I like that because he's positive, and I think this is a coin flip. Benyam Girmay minus 164 versus Caden Groves plus 118.
We forgot about Girmay.
I know.
Yeah, I think Caden Groves, man. It's Caden Groves.
Okay. Tim Merlier minus 184 versus Jonathan Milan plus 118.
I'm afraid I have to say Merlier. Merlier is on the stage.
Are out on Milan. Primoz Roglic minus 225 versus Felix Gall plus 158. It's like a weird line. Is that left over
these guys?
Let me check that. Is that real? That is such an odd. That's real, huh? I would frankly just pick Gall based on why is it so skewed on a sprint stage.
Yeah. Let's go Felix Gall. Primo's is not going to fight the stress.
Why is Primo's a minus 225 favorite? Yeah. Oscar Onley minus 118 versus Florian Lipowitz minus 118. So true coin flip.
Yeah. Oof. Probably Oscar Onley.
Yeah, I would go with him.
He's a better bike handler. Doesn't really matter. I mean, it's difficult, this one, because these guys are not going to sprint. They're going to make sure they're there at the 3 kilometer sign. If it's 3 kilometers, I mean, some of the stages are 5 kilometers. And one stage was the 4 kilometer rule, I think. I know. Check.
Yeah.
I would need to check. But, they're just going to go to that point and then make sure that there's no gaps in the last corner. And that's it. They don't really care. So, but let's go for Oscar Onley.
Okay. Oscar Onley. And what's weird is, like, even if you look at the website, it doesn't have it listed on the stage. And you're like, why is this secret information? Before we go, just wanted to check in on the green jersey. Yesterday, you picked Pogačar at plus 500. In retrospect, a great pick, because the other person at plus 500 was Mathieu van der Poel, and he dropped out overnight, which has really changed the green jersey competition. I think they don't even have the odds up right now for the points classification. I think it's confusing a lot of the books. But if you got that, I still think that's a pretty good bet. But from here on in, who's your favorite to win green?
I think Pogačar.
I think Pogačar too, only if I think there's a good chance he wins on stage 21.
Well, he's going to score points on stage 21, where Milan, there's a decent possibility he doesn't score points. Especially if it's real racing in those last 3 laps, which there will be.
Yeah.
So, Milan needs to win tomorrow, and then on stage 20, but that's probably going to be a breakaway.
It's
stage
middle of the stage,
always a breakaway. So I'm going to go for Pogačar for the green jersey.
And we should say, like, stages 18 and 19, sure, if you look at the map, the sprint point is right at the beginning of the stage, but it's up. It's like they start on climbs. And if you've ever watched the beginning of a stage like that, it is crazy fast. Like, it's hard for sprinters to even stay in the group. So will be interesting to watch those. I don't think he scores any points on those days.
Yeah.
So he kind of has to win tomorrow. It's actually going to be fascinating to watch. All right. Well, anything else, Johan, on stage 17?
No, that's it.
All right. Thank you. And we will be back to preview the first of our Alpine stages tomorrow.
Okay, Spencer. Thanks.
All right. Bye.